Have you ever found yourself staring out the window, not really looking at anything, just thinking? Not sad, not exactly happy either, just caught somewhere in between. Maybe it's early morning, the sun's rising, the house is quiet, and you realize something. Life looks different now. Friends move, family grows busy, routines change, and suddenly things that once brought joy start to feel a little empty. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Growing older brings many gifts: wisdom, freedom, experience. But it also comes with unexpected emotional challenges. Not always loud or dramatic, but subtle, creeping little things that can slowly eat away at your happiness without you even realizing it. This video is for you. We're going to talk about 4 emotional traps that often sneak in after 60, things that quietly take away joy, confidence, and peace of mind. And more importantly, I'll show you how to recognize them and gently break free from each one, starting today. Because no matter what age you are, happiness isn't something that disappears with time. It's something that evolves. And with the right awareness and tools, you can feel more emotionally free, more connected, and more alive than ever. Let's start with a trap that many people fall into without even noticing. It's one that hides behind a very convincing mask: the trap of feeling useless. You see, for decades, life is often defined by roles. Being a parent, a worker, a caregiver, a partner. There's a sense of being needed. A clear reason to get up, get dressed, and show up. But after retirement, after the kids are grown, after the house gets quieter, some people begin to feel like they've lost their place in the world. They say things like, "I'm not sure what I'm even here for anymore." And that thought, it can settle in the heart like a heavy stone. But here's the truth: your value has nothing to do with being busy or earning or being responsible for someone else's schedule. Your presence alone, your stories, your insights, your laughter, your compassion is deeply valuable. Even if no one says it out loud every day, it doesn't make it any less true. So how do you start breaking free from that feeling of uselessness? Start by reconnecting with impact, not roles. What makes you feel like you've contributed something meaningful? For some people, it's sharing advice with a younger friend. For others, it's teaching a grandchild how to cook, volunteering at a local shelter, or writing down life stories that future generations will treasure. Sometimes it's as simple as starting your day by asking, "Who can I lift today, even in a small way?" A kind word, a phone call, a moment of presence, the tiniest spark can light up someone's whole day. And here's the beautiful part: when you become that spark, you feel it too. You start to remember that you matter, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Now let's talk about another emotional trap that creeps in just as quietly. And it can be even harder to spot: holding on to past regrets. It often starts with a sentence like, I should have traveled more. I should have spent more time with my kids. I should have taken better care of myself." These thoughts sound harmless, but repeated enough, they become a loop, a soundtrack that plays in your mind, pulling you back into places you can't change. Here's what we often forget: regret is a teacher, not a prison. It's there to give us insight, not to chain us to the past. If you catch yourself stuck in regret, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what did I learn from that experience? And then, and this part is vital, how can I use that lesson to make the rest of my life better? Let's say you regret not being more active in your 40s or 50s. That doesn't mean you're doomed now. In fact, using that realization to move more today, even a simple daily walk, is a powerful act of reclaiming your future. Or maybe you regret not spending more time with loved ones when you were younger. That awareness can push you to reach out more today, even if it's just a short call or a handwritten note. Regret wants to trap you in yesterday, but you can flip it. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you that today still counts. Every single day you wake up is another chance to do it differently, to choose a new path, to write a better chapter. And if you're still feeling the weight of something you can't let go of maybe it's something you said or didn't say or a decision you made. Remember this, forgiveness isn't just about other people. Sometimes it's about learning how to forgive yourself. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you love. You'd never shame them for their mistakes, right? You'd remind them they were doing the best they could with what they knew. You'd tell them it's okay to be human. So offer yourself that same grace. You've earned it. Breaking free from these emotional traps isn't about pretending they don't exist. It's about noticing them when they show up and gently, consistently choosing something better. Because life after 60 is not the end of meaning or connection or joy. It's a new chapter, one that you get to shape with awareness, intention, and love. And once we let go of regret and remind ourselves of our true value, a beautiful thing starts to happen. We begin to feel lighter, more grounded, more ready to embrace the present. So now that we've talked about how to release regret and rediscover your worth, let's go a little deeper into another trap that's just as dangerous, but a lot more common than most people realize. And that emotional trap is loneliness, not just being physically alone, but feeling disconnected even when you're surrounded by people. You might be at a family gathering, hearing the laughter, the conversation, the stories flying back and forth, and still feel invisible. Like life is moving on without you, like you're no longer part of the center, but quietly fading into the edges. It's a painful, silent kind of isolation that can creep in slowly and settle deep. After 60, many people experience big life shifts: retirement, loss of a spouse or close friends, kids moving away, health changes. All of that can shake up our social circles. Suddenly, routines that kept us engaged, like going to work or attending regular group activities, disappear. And with them goes the daily human connection we didn't even realize we depended on so much. But here's something really important to understand. Loneliness doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you've failed at relationships or outlived your usefulness. It just means your soul is craving connection, and that is one of the most human things there is. So how do you break free from this emotional trap? You don't have to start with big, dramatic changes. In fact, small, steady actions are often the most powerful. Start by reaching out to one person, just one. Maybe it's an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's a neighbor you always wave to, but never really talk to. Pick up the phone, send a message, take the first step. It can feel vulnerable, especially if it's been a while. You might worry you'll be bothering them, or that they're too busy. But most people are longing for connection too. They're just waiting for someone else to go first. And here's the secret. People remember kindness. They remember the one who calls, the one who checks in, the one who says, "Hey, I was thinking about you." That kind of gesture ripples out more than you know. If in-person connections are tough, maybe due to distance, health, or transportation, consider joining an online community. There are beautiful spaces full of people over 60 sharing their lives, their stories, their struggles, book clubs, interest groups, hobby forums. You'd be surprised how real and rich these relationships can become. And if you're feeling really stuck, like loneliness has wrapped around you too tightly to move, please don't hesitate to talk to someone about it. A counselor, a support group, even your doctor. You deserve connection, and asking for help isn't weakness. It's courage. Sometimes we underestimate how healing it can be just to feel seen, to have someone look us in the eye and say, "You matter, I'm glad you're here." And you know what else helps? Giving that feeling to others. When you reach out to someone who's also feeling disconnected, you not only help them, you help yourself. That shared spark, that mutual reminder that we're not alone in this, it can change everything. Let me tell you a little story. A man named Carl, 72, lost his wife after 40 years of marriage. After the funeral, the house got quiet. Too quiet. He stopped going out, stopped answering calls. Days melted into each other. But one day, he made a promise to himself. Just go outside, just sit on the porch. That one small act led to a conversation with a passerby, which led to coffee, then to volunteering at a local library. And now, Carl's not only rebuilt a social life, he's mentoring younger men in the community, sharing stories, giving advice, feeling useful again, and more importantly, feeling connected again. It all started with sitting on the porch. Small step, big ripple. So ask yourself, what's your version of the porch? What small step can you take to invite connection back into your life? Because while loneliness is powerful, your desire to love and be loved is even more powerful. And it doesn't vanish with age. In fact, it often grows stronger. You have so much left to give and receive. Now let's move into a fourth emotional trap that often hides behind good intentions. And this one can be a little tricky to spot because on the surface, it looks like something positive. But underneath, it can quietly steal your peace. It's the trap of always putting others first and forgetting about yourself. This tends to happen to the caregivers, the nurturers, the ones who have spent their whole lives taking care of everyone else. You may be the go-to person in the family, the reliable one, the one who remembers birthdays, keeps the household running, sacrifices without question. And while that role is honorable, it's also exhausting, especially as you get older and your energy becomes more precious, more limited. Yet many still push through pain, suppress their own needs, and silently believe that taking care of themselves is selfish. Let me be clear. It's not selfish to rest. It's not selfish to say no. It's not selfish to put your health, your peace, your joy first. It's wise and it's necessary because here's the truth no one tells us early enough. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you burn yourself out trying to meet everyone else's needs, who's going to be there for you? Breaking free from this trap means learning how to set gentle boundaries. It means learning to check in with yourself before automatically saying yes to every request. It means asking, what do I need today? And honoring the answer without guilt. Maybe what you need is rest. Maybe it's alone time. Maybe it's saying, I can't help this week, but I'm rooting for you. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You're allowed to be something to yourself. And something beautiful happens when you start doing this. The people around you begin to respect your time and your energy more. They learn to adjust. They see your example, and sometimes it even gives them permission to care for themselves better too. So whether you've been caught in the feeling of uselessness, weighed down by regrets, trapped in loneliness, or stuck in the cycle of always putting others first, know this. You're not alone, and you are not stuck. These emotional traps may be common after 60, but they are not permanent. And the moment you begin to recognize them, you begin to reclaim your power. Because this part of your life, it's yours. And it's waiting to be lived with more joy, more freedom, and more lightness than you may have thought possible. Let's keep going. There's still more to uncover. It's powerful, isn't it? Realizing that so many of the emotional struggles we face after 60 aren't just ours alone, but are shared quietly by millions of others going through similar transitions. And what's even more powerful is knowing we have the ability to shift these experiences, not by pretending everything's fine, but by facing them honestly and making small changes that start to bring life back into focus. By now, we've already looked at some of the most common emotional traps: feeling useless, carrying heavy regrets, dealing with loneliness, and the invisible toll of always putting others first. Each of these can cloud your sense of joy, but they all have one thing in common: they thrive in silence. But once you name them, once you look them in the eye, something remarkable happens. They lose their grip. You stop blaming yourself, and you start choosing yourself. And it's that shift from surviving to choosing that leads us into the real magic of this next part, rediscovering you. Because somewhere along the way, you may have forgotten how important your own dreams, curiosities, and joys really are, not in the context of a family role or a job or an obligation, but just for you, And that brings us to something I'd love for you to really take in. It is not too late to reinvent your joy. Yes, even now, especially now. Many people believe happiness at this age has to look a certain way, quiet, restrained, focused on rest. But what if happiness now looks like starting something completely new, taking a dance class, learning how to play the guitar, joining a hiking group, writing that book you always thought about? You don't need anyone's permission to begin again, and you certainly don't need to wait until everything's perfect. Joy doesn't arrive at your doorstep wrapped in a neat little box. It sneaks in when you take small risks, follow your curiosity, and allow yourself to feel excited again. Let me ask you something, and take a moment to answer honestly. When was the last time you did something just because it made you feel alive? Not because it was expected, not because it was helpful, but because it lit up your heart, even just a little. If it's been a while, don't worry. That spark is still in you. It's just been buried under the weight of routines, responsibilities, maybe even a little fear. But you can uncover it, gently, patiently, with small acts of joy every day. Try this. Before you go to bed tonight, ask yourself, what made me smile today? It could be a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a stranger, a memory that came to you out of nowhere. Those moments are clues. They're showing you what lights you up. Follow them. You don't need a 5-year plan. You just need to take one small step in the direction of what feels good. That's how joy returns, not all at once, but gradually, like a sunrise. First, a soft glow, then a bit more light, until one day, it's bright again. And yes, there may be days when the old thoughts creep in, when regret or loneliness or guilt knocks at your door. That's okay. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. The key is not to sit with those feelings too long. Acknowledge them, thank them for the lesson, and then gently shift your focus to something that grounds you in the present, because the present is where your power lives. There's something else I want you to remember. People often talk about the importance of gratitude, but it's not just about being thankful for what you have. It's also about recognizing how far you've come. You've lived through heartache, loss, victories, laughter, uncertainty. You've adapted, grown, and continued to show up even when things were hard. That deserves to be acknowledged. When you look at yourself in the mirror, try not to focus on the wrinkles or the gray. See the strength in your eyes, the stories in your smile, the wisdom in your posture. You are not past your prime. You're in a different kind of prime, one where depth matters more than speed and presence means more than productivity. This chapter of life doesn't need to be a quiet fade out. It can be a powerful return to self, a time when you reclaim the pieces of yourself that were put aside while caring for others or meeting life's demands. It's okay to say, this time is for me now. It's okay to make your happiness a priority. It's okay to want more from life, even now, especially now, because you've earned that. So if you've been feeling stuck, maybe not deeply depressed, but just flat, just a little numb, like the days are blending together, it's time to shake things up gently. Even a small change in your routine can create a ripple. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and sit outside with your coffee. Call someone you miss, even if it's been years. Write down 3 things you're curious about learning. Watch a documentary about something random and let yourself get inspired. Go outside and feel the sun on your skin. Movement, even small movement, creates momentum. You don't have to reinvent your whole life overnight. You just have to begin. And with each small step you take back toward joy, you send a powerful message to your own heart. I'm still here. I still matter. I still have something beautiful to experience. Because at the end of the day, it's not about avoiding pain. It's about remembering that happiness is still an option, that love is still possible, that your presence still has meaning. And that no number, no birthday, no calendar can take that away from you. You are not defined by what you've lost. You're defined by what you choose to hold on to and what you choose to create from here on out. And as we close this part of the journey, keep this close. Your joy is not behind you, it's with you. Right now, in this very moment, let's keep walking forward. There's still more to explore.